What's going on YouTube? Uberman here. This video is directed to you folks in Chicagoland. A gentleman called me today, which really surprised me. I don't give my phone number out, obviously. But I've spoken to this gentleman before, and I just totally forgot about it. But he called me today, and he is a driver for Uber in the Chicago market, but he does not drive in Chicago. He is in a suburb like 2 hours outside of Chicago. He's not even in the city limits. And he has been temporarily deactivated from the Uber platform. He's been deactivated until the beginning of next month. And like many of you drivers, he relies on Uber to pay his bills. So here's what happened. Chicago recently passed an ordinance, I believe it was on Monday, that says drivers are not allowed to be online, to be driving more than 10 hours a day. If you do, Uber or Lyft are required to report you to the city, at which point the city will most likely issue you a ticket that you'll have to pay, and you will be temporarily banned from using the system. Now, there's so many things that are confusing about this because they count basically anytime you're online towards that 10 hours. You don't have to be driving. A lot of you guys sit at home and you wait for a run. This gentleman does the same thing. If you are online, that counts towards that 10 hours a day, even if you're sitting at home, not in your car driving. Which that doesn't make sense. Just because you're online doesn't mean you're in a car driving. This is rideshare. This is not a taxi cab where you're literally sitting in your car all day long waiting for rides. You can be anywhere outside of your car waiting for a run. So this gentleman got a notification from Uber saying, hey, you're getting close to your 10 hours. Be careful, don't go over, or you could face, penalties. And he replied back to them and said, okay, I'm not in Chicago, so this doesn't apply to me. Well, he went over his 10 hours, and he is banned until next month from the system, and he was informed that Uber will be contacting the city of Chicago, and he could be facing a ticket. Now, what I'm not understanding, and like I said, I've known about this since it happened, since Monday, but I didn't want to preemptively make a video without learning more about it, like some people do. I had no intention of making a video about this just yet, but this gentleman's case caught my attention, and quite honestly, it confused me. I understand that the city of Chicago passed an ordinance, but how are they enforcing this ordinance for the city of Chicago on somebody that doesn't live in Chicago? That is the part that is confusing. The only thing that I can understand is Uber, basically regardless of what suburb Uber operates in, they are based out of Chicago. They follow Chicago rules, but it seems like something is very confusing here. Some kind of lines got crossed because I don't believe that Chicago can enforce their ordinances on other cities. Unless this ordinance is some kind of a statewide ordinance, which I don't believe it is. So for you Chicago people, please do me a favor, comment below or send any information you have to UbermanYouTube at COX, that's Cox.net. This gentleman sent me all of his screenshots and everything. It's absolutely legit. This guy is not messing around. He's literally banned from making money until next month. I mean, can you imagine that? Can you imagine driving outside of a city that passed a regulation that shouldn't even apply to you and then being told, sorry, you can't pay your bills? That's just the way it is. Hopefully someone has some insight to this. What can you do? I advised him, even though the Uber office is 2 hours away from him, I advised him to go to the Uber office. He has sent emails to support, and he's gotten canned responses that have absolutely nothing to do with his issue. And, this is someone's livelihood here. So you people out there in Chicago, what are your thoughts on this new ordinance? And can anybody explain to me how Chicago can enforce a city ordinance on somebody outside of the Chicago market? How can this person be banned from the system and face fines and tickets from Chicago when he's not even driving in Chicago? I mean, this isn't a case of he lives 2 hours away and he drives to Chicago. He does not drive in Chicago. He drives in a market 2 hours away, and he has now lost his source of income. I don't understand how this works. This is a really shady deal, and someone's livelihood is at stake here. This is not okay. So I decided to go ahead and make this video and try to get more information from you guys that are going through this right now. And I know this is related to Chicago only at the moment, but this is something to be on the lookout for. As time goes on and as rideshare progresses, you're going to see a lot more involvement on the state and probably federal levels as well. There's going to be more rules and regulations laid down, and of course, fines, penalties, and fees because states, cities, the federal government are money hungry, and they're going to take everything they can from you. So do me a favor, guys. Please comment below if you have any information regarding any of this. Please email me, UbermanYoutube, UbermanYoutube at coxcox.net. I'd really appreciate any insight you guys have. And what are you going to do about this? Because this is not right. This is not fair. And this really shouldn't be allowed to continue. Comment below, guys. Email me. And as always, like, comment, subscribe. Stay safe out there, and Uber on.